Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the second short story in the Farewell to Lankhmar collection, which is the fourth and final collection by Fritz Leiber in the Lankhmar series, starring Gray Mouser and Fafhrd, the first thieves, and that created the sort of concept that are heavily influential on modern fantasy today. So this one is called the Mer She. It was 41 pages long. I was expecting it to take me like an hour and a half for me to read it last night, but it actually wound up just taking me about 10 minutes more than an hour, so about 70 minutes. So that was pretty fast. I knocked it out a little faster than I was expecting, so that's good. And a lot of fun stuff happened. This series got started publishing in 1939 in the pulp era. The short story called Two-Sought Adventure, and then it was published in lots of novellas and not books and a novel and so forth over decades and decades. And in fact, Fritz Leiber himself died in 1992, and he actually published short stories in every decade from the 30s to the 90s and so forth. He was heavily influential. He's one of the most awarded writers of all time, with tons of Hugos. He's also in the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Hall of Fame. This series has won Hugos. He's also won a Stoker Award and so forth. And he was in the H.P. Lovecraft writers cadre who was writing letters back and forth to each other and editing his works and so forth. Although he died a couple of years before his first short story was published in 1939 with, again, Two-Sought Adventure and so forth. So let's take a look at this short story, the Mer She, and what I thought about it. So this, if you recall, so again, to keep my review spoiler free, if you recall the previous short story review for you folks that kicked things off the short story, it was set in Fafhrd only, and we were not Gray Mouser. And so this was just going to be Gray Mouser finding out what happened while Fafhrd was doing his things in the previous short story. Now this is happening afterwards, not during it. So some of the conclusions and things that happen in the previous one will also happen here and help out Gray Mouser too in this longer, epicer short story and so forth. So what's going to wind up happening is that they are in a far-flung port city, about 5 days' journey from Ramal, where Gray Mouser is now the captain of a ship, and he has been trading and selling cargo and so forth. He's got another full load of stuff to bring back, and he has been like, I kept my men, his men are super tired from loading up and so forth. He kept them working so hard that they wouldn't be, lost at sea in the port or for a few days, out getting drunk or sleeping with, prostitutes and that sort of thing, right? And so forth. And he says that some of the prostitutes were really trying to seduce his men and were coming close. And he even mentions that one little girl, about 13 years old, was also coming to his stuff too. Then he and his stuff leave, and about 2 pages or 3 pages after that point, he comes across the girl has stood away that he noticed on the shore, and now that starts the story proper for you folks. So I'll go ahead and leave you there. What winds up happening? Who is the girl, and so forth? I'll leave to your reading of this, to a spoiler review, which I don't do. So that's the sort of quick synopsis of what's happening on his journey back home to Ramal. 5-day journey from this port. So let's take a look at what I actually think of the short story. Now this short story, because it's just Gray Mouser, it's fine. And so forth. It's still well written, as you would expect from a guy who was as heavily published and awarded as this guy was. But at the same time, even though this was a longer short story that used its length well, it's not the best. It's not the most, riveting story with all these great details and so forth. And for example, he spends more time talking about the cargo of what he's bringing back for like 5 or 6 pages than he does about like combat and stuff like that. Dude, it's supposed to be sword sorcery genre, right? Which is actually a name that Fritz Leiber came up with. So what do I think about it? I think it's fine. And so forth. I think it's well written. I think it's well paced. But again, there's probably too much description in this and not enough plot. So I would probably give this like a 7 out of 10 because of those reasons and so forth. So there you are. That's my thoughts on it. I talked about how influential he was on modern fantasy in this series too. For example, he has this series has again created the thief class. So if you're playing a modern role-playing game on a video game console, or a tabletop RPG, and you're playing the thief class, this is where it comes from. What they do here and so forth that comes from this. Also the Thieves Guild with politics and so forth. Also a giant city that dominates the plane of Lankhmar, in this case, of the plane of now one. That's this seedy place that has like the Plaza of Dark Lights and Whore Street and so forth. Those sorts of things. So it's heavily influential in modern fantasy. And in fact, in the 1979 edition of the Dungeon Master's Guide for the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, the co-creator Gary Gygax says that this, in a list on Appendix N, he lists this as one of the key influences on the game and where he got the ideas from. So it's a reference checklist, right? So there you are. Well, anyway, I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read the Mer She by Fritz Leiber? If so, what did you think about it? Did you agree or disagree with my 7 out of 10? If so, let's talk about it in the comments below. Or if you want to talk about the ending or spoilers, we can talk about that too. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that subscribe button, because there'll be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humble, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.